Okay, welcome back to Business Owners Speak. Today, I'm thrilled to have with us Joe Grushkin with Universal Factory Direct. Joe, how are you today?
I'm doing awesome. Thank you for having me, Matt.
You bet. Even with it right behind you, I still said it wrong as I'm reading it. So my apologies.
It's all right. It's a tongue twister.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us today. So like I do with everyone, if you could start off by telling us a little bit about you and the business.
Well, thank you. I've been a serial entrepreneur for 40 years. I started out selling Cutco knives. A lot of people have heard of them over the years. The one person that hasn't is hard to find. And I was a college rep, did very well as a rep, became a manager. And as a manager, Uh, the company was 40 years old, and I literally broke every record in that first summer as a manager. Went on to become a division manager, built an organization in New England, and then they tapped me to go to Canada and start the international expansion, where I built 55 sales offices across Canada, and then ultimately was instrumental in opening up the UK, Australia, Korea, and a number of other countries. I retired when I was 37. I was independently wealthy for about an hour, and I bought a franchise company, and the franchise sold shipping services. I owned all of Connecticut and part of Massachusetts, built that up, sold it for a decent seven-figure number, thought I'd retire again. And then my phone started ringing. Can you help me with a business plan? Can you train my salespeople? And ultimately, I became a business coach before business coaching was even a thing, and was working with people on both on and offline support for their businesses. And about 10 years later, my customers started saying to me, what's a tweet? And how do I use this FaceNet webbook thing? And that was 2010. And I went to my daughter, who was graduating from Bentley University, and her boyfriend, who's now her husband. And I said, I think this FaceNet webbook thing is going to be big. And they go, Dad, it's for kids. And I said, hold my beer. And we figured out how to manage social media before Social Media Manager was even in Wikipedia. We were posting content and responding to reviews, building Google pages, and over the next 10 years built up a full-blown social media agency, primarily for small businesses. Okay. So in 2020, I retired again. The kids took over the business, and I dabbled in some things here and there. And then I got divorced, bored, and not necessarily in that order. And a friend of mine owned a kitchen cabinet and hot tub business up in New England. And he's been doing it for 26 years, and he's been doing very well. He does about 8 million in sales out of one location. And I went to him and said, I need something to do. I'm sitting around doing nothing. Let me franchise your business, because I had experience in the franchising. And he said, have at it. So last year we formed a partnership. We developed the franchise concept, and we rolled out the first franchise here in West Palm Beach, which I own. And then we started selling franchises around the country at the first of this year, and we have a number of people already in play for that. So what we do is we offer kitchen cabinets, high quality kitchen cabinets, and hot tubs at significantly discounted pricing. People say, well, how can you beat Home Depot or Lowe's or things like that? And in fact, we don't have a heavy overhead. We have very low overhead, and we're not killing people on the price. So we see significant 30 to 50% discounts, helping people get really great cabinets at very affordable pricing. And the hot tubs, same thing, all US made hot tubs, all parts are available, and we have everything from 3-person tubs for condos all the way up to the 9-person plus 22 of your other close personal friends, and you can make it a party tub. And we do them for anywhere around 40 to 50% lower than the retailers.
Interesting. So, and a lot to unpack there, Joe, but a lot of good stuff. And I love the serial entrepreneurism of it. So I'm curious, tell us how the business model works. Do you have a showroom? Do you have sales reps that are out in the field? How does that work?
We have a showroom. We have very low overhead. There's literally 3 people who work here. We have a designer, full-time designer on staff for the kitchen cabinets. We have over 100 door styles and over 300 colors to choose from. Our showroom is by design understated. When you come in, it's just looking at the samples. There's no opulence to it. You know how you walk into a kitchen cabinet place in Boca or West Palm Beach or Jupiter, and you could smell how much it's going to cost you when you walk in the door?
Yeah.
Well, you get the opposite effect here because we're basically a warehouse showroom, but it's attractive, it's upscaled, and it looks good. We have 5 different manufacturers we carry, 4 of which import materials from overseas, but they're all assembled here in the States. And then we deliver it to the customer direct from the factory. So
Okay.
we have one manufacturer that sources all their products in the US, and they're all made here in the US. So, yeah.
But installation is on your own?
About 50% of our clients come with a contractor or the ability to install or somebody they have, but we have installers that we have tested and proven out to be successful, and we do refer people out like that. We also sell quartz countertops. We have some knobs and handles that we can offer, but for the most part, we're kitchen cabinets on the cabinet side and hot tubs. We don't sell patio furniture or umbrellas and stuff like that. So
So proof of concept with your buddy up in the Northeast, and you said, I can, if you're doing these numbers out of one location, I'm sure we can replicate that, especially in a place where renovations are, you know, um,
yep,
every day. Everyone's got to keep up with their neighbor, right? So,
yep.
so is that like, walk us through what made the kind of light bulb go franchise?
Well, I owned the franchise for 15 years,
Okay.
and I was heavily involved. I was the president of the Franchise Advisory Council, so I understood the model. And then I actually, during my retirement, I worked for a large franchising company here in Florida, and I saw how they were doing their model of selling franchise. I said, I should be selling franchises. For myself, I have a lot of background in that. So that wasn't my intent of taking the job, but it just sparked my entrepreneurial, waters. I had taken the Tony Robbins challenge, and it manifested into that, to be
Yeah.
honest. And from doing that, the franchising model gives entrepreneurs the opportunity to get into business without all the learning curve and the searching through the darkness to figure out the business. So when we have a franchisee come in, we teach them everything from how each different manufacturer is different to how to price and how to be competitive and how to keep their margins. I mean, the margins are very strong for a small business, and we're very excited about the opportunity we have for franchisees.
Sure. So is your main role right now to run this local location or to sell to franchisees?
Yes,
Yes. Okay.
I have
Okay.
a director. I have a director of franchise sales who handles that side of the business. My designer does all the designing, and I handle the sales of that and the operations of the business.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm curious, just going back a little bit, your social or your digital marketing company, basically, is that still in existence?
absolutely. My daughter and son-in-law, they're both in their mid-30s now, and they run a company called Max Exposure Social Media, and it's Max Expo USA if you want to find them online. And they do everything from posting content for a couple $100 a month for a small business. They respond to reviews. They do SEO. They do pay-per-click. They do website design, renovations, and they've worked with large franchises. They do all of our social media work, YouTube advertising, all that good stuff. I just got a text from a friend of mine. He goes, "I'm watching a video and your face popped up as the ad." So, it's out there, and the kids are doing a great job. They got a staff of people that they work with, and you
That's
know
great.
that business moved on faster than I could keep up with it as a 60-something guy. So,
Yeah, that's a challenge for all business owners, right? That trying to navigate and cut through some of the BS of the digital marketing world and what's real, what's not, attaching true ROI to those efforts. But good for them.
Yes.
That's great.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So what are some of your your goals with I did it again, Universal Factory Direct?
Well, our very clear goal is to get to 50 franchises in 5 years.
Okay.
That's what the consultants all said is the very real objective. And you know, to also have a lifestyle business. At Universal, we only work by appointment. It's not a retail store. So if we have two, three people coming in, we know they're coming in. They bring in their measurements, they bring in their pictures. You sit down with them, you pick out a style and a color and kind of piece it together for them, and then we give them a quote, and they're happily involved at that point. So it gives me nights and weekends, to not have to be buried in a business
Yeah.
like any other business you've ever been part of. So
Where's your showroom, Joe?
well, we got really lucky. We are right in front of Lowe's,
Oh,
on Okeechobee.
okay.
75,000 cars on average go by our sign every day. And we have people coming out of Lowe's, literally walking across the parking lot and saving 20% on what they quoted them on
Wow.
the exact same brands and styles, and sometimes even better.
Huh.
Yeah.
So, cabinet and hot tub, kind of a unique combo.
You want to know
Um,
what they have to do with each other?
a little bit, yeah.
Absolutely nothing. Actually, it was kind of Kevin, my partner up in Portsmouth, stumbled into the hot tubs after he had the kitchen cabinets. And he heard about it and he brought in a truckload and they sold like hotcakes.
Hmm.
And the next thing you know, his kitchen cabinet customers were walking in saying, "Oh, you have hot tubs too?" And his hot tub customers were walking in saying, "Oh, you do kitchen cabinets too?"
Hmm.
Because they're both home improvement products. They're typically not discounted. So, a $20,000 hot tub will do for, $11,000. And that's our biggest tub.
Yeah.
Our smallest tub, it's a $8,000 hot tub. We'll do it 3,500 bucks. And people love the quality. They last 10 years. They have lifetime warranties on the shell. So, it's really a great product. It's made right in Las Vegas.
Okay. So, on the franchise side, Joe, and we haven't had a lot of franchise owners
Oh,
on Business Owner Speak. So I'm kind of curious what your outbound looks like. How are you out trying to find franchisees?
it's like any other business. You've got to have strong, website, SEO, a presence. You have to have a good story. But how do we find franchisees? The old-fashioned way, franchise expos. When I
Mhm.
bought my first franchise, my mom and dad walked up and down the Javits Center and they bought the first unit of a company that had 11 franchises at the time. I bought the second unit in our family, and together we bought five more units in that same franchise. And then we sold it at the after 15 years, we sold it for about 2.6 million. And people who stayed the next 20 years, I've stayed in touch with, they're selling for 25 million. So, the opportunity, you see, the best part of a franchise is the learning curve is very low and the name recognition adds tenfold value. So, you're just Joe's kitchen shop. Joe is the brand. If I sold it to Matt Wilson, you're
Right.
going to say, I can't be Joe. But in a franchise, we create duplicable systems and concepts and then support the franchisee so they learn it very quickly and they can move through the learning curve is very high in a standalone business. It's a very low learning curve for a franchise.
Yeah.
So we're looking for the outreach. We're looking for that middle management person who says, I'm never going to get rich doing this. I'm killing myself. I'm not going to my kids' little league games because I'm always on an airplane. Or, the wife was looking for something to do now that the kids are full-time in school because she had a real career in the before. Well, not that a housewife isn't a real career, but they're at a point now where they say, hey, I want to make an extra 150, 200,000 bucks a year and not kill myself doing it. That's what franchising can do for you.
Mhm.
The best part is we're looking for people who don't want food or or huge staffs of people or heavy equipment in their product mix.
Right.
So 1,500, 2,500 square foot B warehouse space, because you don't need the foot traffic to get people in. They all come in from the website by appointment.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives the franchisee quality of life, great income, and at the same time, a business that's clean. I mean, all the product is delivered directly to the customer by the manufacturers.
So you're just buying samples one time or when new things come out for
Correct.
display.
And a
Okay.
lot of times you're not even paying for the new boards. They send them in.
Right.
Then we bring in a truckload of tubs. Half of them go on the floor as samples or display, and the other half gets stacked up. And then you pick it up, forklift it, drop it on the trailer of the service company, the delivery service company that you contract with, and they take it away and deliver it.
Yep.
So it's a really clean model for a business person. You don't have to know how to put cabinets together because I don't and
Me
never
neither.
will. Okay. And you don't want me handling any kind of sharp tools. So that's
Right.
out. But you got to have spatial relations. You got to know how to work with people. You got to have sales presence and skills, and people really feel comfortable. I just had a woman leave here. She said, "Look, I got a price from another guy. It was $14,000." I said, "Yeah, this is probably going to be about 9 with us."
Wow.
And she almost kissed me. I mean, it was like, how can you? So we know what we're doing on the price, we know what we're doing on the quality, and we know what we're doing on the opportunity for the franchisee.
Okay. Well, speaking of knowing what you're doing, I'd be curious to get a little feedback from you on during your time as a business coach, what were some of the main challenges that you were seeing from business owners?
Well, the coaching that I did was based on my experience as a entrepreneur, and I became certified in law of attraction coaching. So in the two of those things, it was really more about working with business owners on getting over the hurdles or through the head trash that held them back. You know, if I went and got my PhD, I would have been a psychologist of business.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure you're experiencing that too.
Yes.
I've worked with business owners who own their business for 4 years and never took a vacation or a weekend.
Right.
I talked to business owners who couldn't keep employees. And within 15 minutes, you can tell when, just hanging out in the back on a secret shopper, you could find out where the issue is. And the fish rots from the head down.
Yep.
So it's a matter of working with business owners to understand what they thought they were doing and then help guide them to where you knew they wanted to go.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you, you get into stuff about their childhood,
Sure. Yeah. There's a
right?
lot. Yeah. It
That
all
that
sounds
would
very
be
familiar.
right. Well, you'd probably do it every
Yeah.
day, so I get that.
Right.
So, as a business coach, I found it to be very rewarding, but I had I had bigger, aspirations and callings,
Sure.
to play it in a different sandbox. So, but I still have people who call me today who are clients
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, I need, I need where's my stinking thinking on this?" That
Right.
kind of, yeah,
Yep. Got to talk through it, right? Have someone to bounce it off of. So you're the perfect
exactly.
guy to Joe to ask if you could provide either some words of wisdom or some advice for either people that are just starting their business or they have a job and they're thinking about taking that leap, or even those that have just kind of hit, that plateau where They got things going, and now growth seems to elude them.
I guess the without you can't be anything that you know you're not. So to take a person who just has been staring at a screen for the last 20 years and convert them into a people person,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're not going to make that shift. But that doesn't mean you can't own the business. If you really have a desire to be an entrepreneur, you can keep your job and run your business through qualified people. That's where you'd want to get a coach like Matt to help you know how to identify the right kind of employees and how to qualify them and how to, read between the lines in a resume. But if you are looking to run a business and you are looking to grow and get out of the corporate day-to-day grind and get into where you control your future. One of the things that I always used to share with my clients was, if you're a tiger and you're in a zoo, the door opens up and they slide the piece of meat in and the door closes. And at night, the door opens up and they slide the piece of meat and the door closes. And they groom your coat and you lay in your habitat and people come by and look at you and they pay you to do that. Now, if you go on a safari and you see a lion in the wild, it's skin and bones and muscle. It's not lush and fur and you see the blood from its last kill on its jowls. And there's parasite birds hanging around it. And it's always on the hunt for that next kill. The difference is the one on the Serengeti, even though it's kind of muscular and manged and parasital birds, it's free.
Hmm.
The other one, although it's taken care of and it has everything it needs, it doesn't have its freedom.
Hmm.
And if you're an entrepreneur, you want that freedom.
Very true.
So the advice I give is, you have to know what you want and you have to talk it into existence and you have to allow it to happen.
I love it. Good stuff, Joe. And you heard it here, folks, because this is a guy who's done it over and over. So, um, Joe Grushkin, thank you so much for taking your time and lending some of your wisdom and years of experience in business ownership. Current business is Universal Factory Direct Cabinet and Hot Tub Discounters. We really appreciate you taking the time today, Joe.
Matt, thank you so much for having me, and keep doing these. I'm sure you're helping a lot of people, and I do appreciate the opportunity.
My pleasure.
Thank you.